Hello everyone, this is Kapil Sharma and I am Associate Professor in renowned College of Architecture and I am running my institute for preparation of design and architecture entrance examinations since long. So, by the special request of my lots of students who lived in the different state of India and they are not able to visit a studio and they wanted to prepare elements and design principles and for Nata entrance exam. So I decided to create these small videos. Those videos will help you for Nata 2022 and design entrance examination also because those contents are common for all creative exams. So today I am concluding in this video that elements of visual arts. There are three visual art form like architecture, painting and sculpture. So those forms cannot be possible without the elements. So elements will play very important role in design, in architecture also. So there are seven elements. Those are line, shape, form, space, color, value, or tone, we can say, and texture. So the seven elements are very essential tool for creating any composition, or we can say that is very helpful to create any type of visual art, whether it is a painting, sculpture, or architecture. So, elements, I am elaborating these elements one by one. Line, you might be have some question, those would be based on the line, and they can ask you about how line impact and what are the significance of lines. So, line is an important element at the disposal of every artist or architect, we can say, architect and designer, sculptors. Lines always have direction. So, direction, we can understand different direction through different lines. Line is a path that a point takes through space. We can say distance between two dots or and extension of any dot is called line. Line may be horizontal, vertical, diagonal. A straight horizontal line is basic framework of many forms, but it is lacks softness and flexibility. We have some examples so that you can understand that horizontal lines impact and horizontal line meaning in terms of design, in terms of paintings and sculpture. So somewhere if you have some question and they are asking then what types of line having the different quality and different meaning. So horizontal line always divide the space and it is for the making horizon and it is for using the relaxation and calmness. These three examples are very clear to understand the different visual art forms like sculpture, paintings, and architecture. If you are finding the long span building, then that may be the example of horizontal line. In terms of painting, you can see the horizon, some landscape, and in terms of the sculpture, that laying lady, and this is very horizontal, and this is showing the horizontal line application. Now I am moving to the vertical line. Vertical line always having the verticality, and it always having the force. You can see some example of vertical lines in terms of architecture because I am concluding this lecture for Nata 2022 preparation only so that you can find out verticality in the buildings, like if you are going with the skyscrapers, they may be the example of vertical line. If you are going with minarets, towers, they may be the example of vertical line. Diagonal line always having the suggest action, movement. Then you can find out the curved line. Generally artists use these type of lines just because of the creating rhythm and movement in terms of their paintings. So these are line having the flexibility, movement. These all are the good example of curved line. Line repetitions, you can find out it occurs when two or more lines are drawn within a corner. So you can change the whole, perspective of the composition by using the various type of lines. In terms of lines, line can be the transitional lines. Line can be used for the, showing a path, and they may be, somewhere direct you and guide you in terms of architecture. These all are the some example of architecture where you can find out, and these same example which we can consider also as as per the shapes. But in terms of line, you can find out these all are the planes, but we also can consider these example for lines only. Some examples in paintings where you can find out some modern abstract painting where you can find out the various applications of lines. Some example in sculpture. This is relief 2D sculpture, and this is a profile of a male and female figure. And in second example, you can find out a volume, and that is also made by the lines. Now I am moving to the shape. Shape is combination and enclosure by the lines only. Shape is created when a line becomes a connected and enclosed space, and it always having a two-dimensional x or y axis. You can measure its height and width also. Shape may be two types like geometrical shapes, organic shapes. We have some example of geometrical shapes. These all are known as the primary shapes. Please, you can write these things, and you can understand this video, and you can record these all example in your brain so that it will help you in your exam or in your uh, curriculum ahead also. These all are the organic shapes. Two basic difference: these geometrical shapes always following a geometry and they having a 2D, two dimension. An organic shape also having a two dimension. These all are the profile of these those natural forms, but they also having a irregular shape also. They all known as a irregular shape. Now I am moving to the form. Form always having a three-dimensional volume, or we can say this is known as a volume, and this also having the z axis. That's why it is a form, because here height, width, and depth would be the major aspect to create a form. Without line, we cannot create a shape. Without dot, we cannot create a line. Without line, we cannot create a shape. And without shape and plane, we cannot create the form. So these all are the correlated and linked. Now, elements of art, you can understand turning shape into form. A triangle becomes a cone and pyramid because triangle is a profile of a cone and pyramid. A square becomes a cube. A shape becomes a rectangle, become a cuboid. A circle become a sphere. Now I'm moving to the space. Space refers to distance or area around, between, or within a component of a piece. For example, if we are hatching two lines and we are enclosing a space, we are making a square, and that encompasses a space. Just because of space is a demarked area. Space is related with some vacant area, an space having a different type. Like a space can be positive, white or light, or negative, black or dark, open or closed, shallow or deep, and two-dimensional or three-dimensional. So you should understand all types of visual art forms having a different types of spaces. Like painters, artists generally having their space like a canvas. Architect having a piece of land where they can start designing and where they can build up. And sculptor always have that stone slab where they are creating that particular sculpture which they want. Some example of space, negative and positive. This will help you. Positive space, that the foreground area, and negative space can be the background, and it is vice versa. Sometimes positive can negative, negative can positive. It's up to you, and it is up to always the perception of individual. Like in second picture, you can find out two figures are there, two profile faces of human are there, and they are, if you are focusing on that black part, then you can see that profile face of human. But whenever you are focusing and emphasizing that white portion, then it is creating some types of small ornamented articulation structure. So similarly, you can jump the third last example. That example clearly stated that this is a face of lady. But whenever you are focusing on that black part, then you can find out a man, performing on a saxophone. So this is the beauty of space. where positive and negatives are matter. Now I am moving to the example of space in architecture. Space will play very important role in terms of architecture because architecture is the space designing. It is designing. It is for designing the spaces. So you can find out some example in your on your screen, so that you can understand that the passages somewhere the built up structure. So they having the different types of space in terms of architecture. If we are moving and talking about the sculpture, so you can find out these void area and this whole component in terms of sculpture, in terms of positive and negative. Now I am moving to the value and tones are similar, uh, almost. So value is the lightness or darkness of a color, and maybe if we are achieving this with the graphite, with pencil, with watercolor, whatever medium we are using, so we are creating values. Matlab, we are going to create a lightness and darkness of that particular medium, and that is known as a value makes object appear more real because it imitates natural light. When showing value in a work of art, you will need a light source. Whenever light is coming from any angle, 45-degree angle, 135-degree angle, 90-degree angle, then you can find out that lit area is the lighter value, and that middle area where light is not approaching properly, that is middle value, and those all shadow on the ground we can consider as a darkest and darker values. And values are important just because of creating 3D, third dimension. Now I'm moving to the color. Color is itself a very huge, but I included something related with color. Color having, remember the anagram ROY and GVIV. And you can understand that Newton introduced this theory when light passes from prism and we can have the spectrum that is known as a Wave. So this is color wheel. You can go with color wheel. In my next video, you can understand about the color theory in detail, and sooner I will launch this video for your help. This is color wheel. You can understand there are 12 colors, 3 primary, 3 secondary and 6 tertiary tones. Color is known as hue, intensity and value. Three things are measured for colors. Hue are the purity of a color, intensity is the lightness and darkness, and value is also the lightness and darkness. Tones are related with the values. So these all are the all about the color: primary hues, secondary hues, the tertiary hues. These all are the example of primaries. Secondaries: primary red, blue, yellow; secondary green, orange, violet; and tertiary are known as a red, orange, red, purple, blue, violet, yellow, green, yellow, orange. वार्म कलर्स ROY रेड ऑरेंज येलो. इस तरीके से याद रखें आप, रेड ऑरेंज एंड येलो आर नोन एज अ वार्म. cool colors generally blue, green and purple. So these all are the values of colors you can find out, and I will take surely a elaborated lecture and upload that video for your help, and that definitely it will help you. Values are based on the lightness and darkness of any particular color. These all are the example. This is a monochromatic color value chart of a red color. Intensity refers to the brightness or darkness. It gives a color strength. Differences in intensity may be described as a full intensity, 2/3 intensity and 2/3 neutral. This is neutral to red and green. This will be discussed in next lecture in detail. Texture is the character of any surface. So texture always related to the characteristic of any surface. We can find out the different types of textures: physical texture and visual textures, smooth texture and rough texture, smooth and rough. These all are the example of smooth and rough. So this is all about the elements of visual art. In my next video, I am going to conclude these in detail. Thank you so much. Like our channel, subscribe it, and thank you so much.